So that's walnut. Walnut's pretty easy to split, but I got a few problems going on recently. One, my eyesight on my right eye has gotten a lot worse since the last time I split wood. I split wood last time was probably 3 years ago, because we got a stockpile, so we just hadn't need to get any more. So since my right eye is messed up, my depth perception is also messed up. You should see me trying to use the debit machine at the store. You got your one eye closed and you're feeling around. So it's hard for me to judge where the wood is. And that makes a big difference when you're trying to split, and I'm going to explain all that in a minute. Second problem is my big splitter, maul is what it's called, the handle has broken. So it has a wider stance on it, and it's also a little bit heavier. So it's when you get into a bigger log, that skinnier maul doesn't spread it out quite as well. So I just got a few issues, but I don't have a huge stockpile of firewood, so I'm just going to fight through it. Now, like I said, I've been doing walnut here. So here's the maul I was telling you about. I can get the handle replaced, but I find it's just as easier. I don't know, it's easier, cheaper, or it's not much cheaper, I should say, to get the handle. The handles are the most expensive part of the whole thing. So I've been using that kind of as a wedge. So when my little one gets stuck, here's my little one. When it gets stuck in the wood, I can take this one, put it in the crack that's already developed, drive it through with this little hammer here. Works pretty good. This is going to have to dry out for probably a year and a half before I can use it. As you know from my previous videos, I'm sure, I don't use anything that's over 20% moisture content. And this hardwood takes a long time for it to dry. People say, oh, just 6 months, or, you know, they got all kinds of things. But I'm telling you, when you get into harder woods, especially hickory and oak, it takes 2 to 2.5 years for it to dry. The other thing is people just assume that you can cut a tree down, let it lay on the ground, and it'll dry out. It absolutely will not. It has to be split up and has to be in log size. For example, this is sycamore. Sycamore is extremely difficult to split when it's wet. So when the moisture content is above 20%. Now, when it gets below 20%, it's easy to split, but it just does not want to let go of the fibers. You can see the fibers just hang on. So this is a monster. Now, like I said, I cut this down, I think last April, so it's been over a year. I measured the moisture content on it, and it's 32%. So these were still in logs until this was a log an hour ago. I measured it just for this video, 32%. So it didn't dry out. If it did dry out, it didn't dry out much. Now, the thing that was interesting about this one is the leaves were not on it yet when I cut it down. It was still early enough, late spring or late winter, early spring, that there was no leaves on it. That means the tree was not sucking moisture out of the ground yet. Or if it was, it hadn't done much. Whereas this walnut I just cut down, the stump is still bleeding water. It's still gushing water. When I cut the limbs off of it, and there was nothing but a trunk left, there was a streak of water running all the way down like it was a water fountain. So that would have a ton of moisture. Now, I did not measure the moisture in the walnut, but I'm sure it's up there towards 50%. So I cannot use this. So you got a dilemma with sycamore. You got to get it split some so it will dry, but it's so hard to split that you just don't want to do it. So what I do is I don't cut them down to size. I just get them split, 2 or 3 slices, whatever I can do, and then I leave it, let it dry, and then when it's dry, then I can split it a little further. It's terrible. We also have, I don't know if it still works, we use it a lot, a manual log splitter. And Carolyn used to use that for exercise, and she'd go out, do a couple logs. She gave up on the walnut, or the sycamore. She just couldn't do it. Now, I will tell you that sycamore and walnut, poplar, those, Let me explain. Softwood is anything that's evergreen. Softwood is evergreen, so pine, cedar, that is softwood. You shouldn't use softwood in your stoves. Now, I know people from the Northwest, that's all we got up here, that's all we can use. And you're going to have creosote problems. That sap just does not evacuate from the tree. So you're burning water. So you're going to have more creosote fires. I just wouldn't do it. I'd find something else to use. But if it has leaves that fall off of it, then it's considered a hardwood. Poplar has to be the softest of the hardwoods. And we had 2 of those trees when we first moved here. And it only took 6 months for that to dry. It was easy to split, easy to cut. Everything was easy about it. So I like the softer woods immensely. And I try to get my hands on it as much as possible. The softer hardwoods, I should say. Like walnut, like sycamore, like poplar. Because in the fall, in the spring, when the temperatures aren't freezing cold, this is just a joy to burn. It doesn't burn as hot. It's easy to light. Now, when it's really cold, you want hickory and oak. So late December, January, into February, you want hickory and oak. You can get online and you can look at BTUs per cord of wood. And what's the highest BTU? Hickory is not the highest, but it's the highest that I have around here. I forget what's the highest, but that stuff's really expensive. So firewood that you can afford that has high BTU, so oak and hickory, and then the list kind of just drops on down. But I think oak and hickory are one of the two, is like 38 million BTUs per cord of wood. And then when you get down to sycamore, it's probably more like 16 million BTUs. I'm not really sure. Don't quote me. So I'm going to give another shot here, see what we can do with a bigger log. When you start to split, you want to make sure that you... Now, before I tell you this, I have not been successful. Like I told you, my eye is throwing off my perception significantly, and I'm out of practice. But your goal is on your first blow, you want to hit the edge of the log here. And what the goal is to split that right on the edge. And then on your second blow, you come to the other side and you split it. And that'll split it down the center. Also, I would like to say again, I would rather have my heavier, thicker maul. I don't know if you can see the difference, but see if we can set them up here. The thicknesses are quite significant difference. So here we go, we're gonna give it a shot. Look at that, I did it. First time on the camera. So now you should be able to see that it's split up to the center. So now the goal is to try to hit it over on this side to split it to the center. Now, again, my maul is bad. It's not a good maul to use. Look at the moisture coming out of that. See how much water that is? Just from splitting it. Squeezing that water out. There's a lot of water in this tree. Haha, I did it again. That's great. Again, that's the maul. I got a lot of issues with the maul. So I'm well on my way to getting this one split. That's exactly what you want. You want the two splits to meet up in the middle. I actually couldn't have done that much more perfectly. Now, since I don't have the right maul, I am going to use this hammer and try to split it, doing it with the wrong hand. And we'll get it to split in half. And then when you get into smaller pieces, it's much easier to split. Now you'll see all these little hacks on YouTube telling you how to make this look a lot easier. One of the hacks I see, and I get in the comment section all the time, put a tire around it. That way you don't have to chase the logs every time you split it. Okay, how many different size tires do you need? So you split one and you got a tire that fits this one. But that tire is not going to hold that one up. So what's the point? Just do the work. Instead of trying to find hacks, you'll drive yourself nuts trying to find all these YouTube hacks because people are trying to make money off YouTube. That's all it is. Yeah, they get one log, they get one tire, they show you, and then all of a sudden that's the way it goes. I wanted to mention again, nobody wanted me to cut this tree down because it was walnut and so pretty. But you can see it was rotting. It wouldn't have been much longer and it would have come down on us in a storm when you don't want it to come down. The other thing about the rot, people wanted me to sell the tree after I cut it down. You couldn't use this. It's no good. You need the full dark wood. Now, like I said, I don't do this very often anymore. I guess first 3 years we were here, firewood was always on our mind and we were always working on it somehow or another. Now, the best thing you can do to get firewood so you don't have to deplete your property is get on Facebook Marketplace, the free stuff. Now, you can get an app that's called Free Stuff. You go on your app store. It's free. Download it and it monitors Facebook Marketplace free stuff. And so anytime firewood comes up, you can go get it. Now you may need to take a chainsaw. Since the storms, there's been a lot of houses, people saying, I got a tree that's down, come get it, it's all yours. But you got to cut it up. Well, that's fine. You don't have to cut trees on your property. So it's one less step that you got to do. And then you just go get it. The problem is you gotta be quick about it because somebody else is gonna get it. People who hire someone to cut down a tree, they don't want to pay to have that brush taken away. So kind of the deal is you go get the tree. They'll come, free app. You'll go get the tree, but you also gotta take the brush, which is fine with me. We got plenty of places to store brush, and Carolyn uses it to cook with. When you start trash fires with it. So it's worth it to take it. But that's more gas, as you're going to have to consider all that brush. Some people have said, no, leave the brush, that's not your responsibility. Well, it is, because they told you to come get it. They're giving you a free tree. So if you click this up next box, it'll take you to a video where I was working on a lawnmower on my other channel. So I hope I can inspire you to learn something so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.